Welcome back to the Pauper Premier League. We just saw quite a match between Brian Coval's Sultai Teachings and Ricardo Montana's Snow Boros. So I'm Alex Holman. I'm here with Joseph Arani. Joseph, what did you think of that match? I heard you guys call it. You guys, that was something to watch.
It was definitely a slugfest. I think it was pretty sweet. I enjoyed it. I love the grindy decks, Mold Drifter, 2-for-1s. I thought it was a pleasure to watch. Both players played well.
Yeah, I mean, it came down to a really hard mulligan for Ricardo in Game 3, where he needed any sort of cog, any Astrolabe or Prophetic Prism just to kind of keep the cards going, keep the cards flowing, and they just didn't show up. And if he had, it just gave Brian enough time to draw his cards, find his land drops. And, you know, I looked at that deck on paper, and I said to Brian in our pregame that I thought Desert was not going to do good work. It was fantastic. It just shut down Ricardo's offense for that game. I was not expecting that. You know, I knew the card was good. I didn't expect it to be that good. And the trick he pulled with putting Archaeomancer on the stack and then Weather the Storm on top, it was, you know, there's a reason he's a vintage North American vintage champion. He's a very good player.
Definitely a pretty sweet move with the Archaeomancer. I did not expect Desert to...
Yeah.
That's the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
And only helped that he drew multiple copies of it, the larger creatures.
Yeah. So I had a fun time. I got to meet you for the first time actually out at Grand Prix Seattle, and you had one of the sweetest seal decks I've ever seen. It had Pashalik Mons and Yawgmoth, and you were 8-0 going into the last round of day 1, first round of day 2, and what happened?
Also, I played against my opponent. He played Sword against my black-red deck.
Yeah, that was tough. What do you call it? Sword of protection from you?
Against you. And against me.
So, moving back to not mythic rares, we got Kendra on Elves versus Brian on his Teachings deck. And I gotta say, Game 1, it looks to be all about how fast Kendra can explode. And Game 2 seems to be about Evankar's Justice.
Definitely the Evankar's Justice is going to be the most important card in Brian's sideboard here. See if Kendra can sort of get out of control too quickly here for the Teachings deck. She's able to get off like 2 and maybe in armor, a Spidersilk Armor.
I think one thing that might happen is Game 2 and 3. I think we're going to see the Winding Way come in just because it is so much better against a heavy removal deck. You know, you don't need to have a ton of elves on the board. At the same point, you know, we saw Brian's deck. It takes a long time to get set up. And, excuse me, Kendra's deck, not like Ricardo's, doesn't take these turns off to bounce lands, bounce artifacts. It kind of is blood. Here's everything. Stop me. And, you know, Game 1, a lot's going to, I think it comes down to whether or not Kendra's on the play. If she's on the play, I think her chances are a lot better Game 1. I think one thing that we forgot is Brian basically time-walked Ricardo turn 3 of Game 1 with that recoil. And that
was insane.
That was such a good play, and it bought so much time. You can't really recoil effectively against elves. Oh, you're going to make me discard a forest? Okay, I guess. Like,
kind of a dead card here.
Yeah, it's not like there's a lot of dead cards. Dispel is dead Game 1. That's it. It's just Havenwood Worm is not going to really get through with Timberwatch Elf. And I don't like Desert here, you know, but I'm willing to be wrong again because I was wrong the first time. I just think Kendra can put herself in the position with Timberwatch Elf where Desert, it's not going to matter because Brian might be dead. Because Brian, unlike a lot of other Teachings decks with green, doesn't have a fog. His one real way to buffer his life total is that Weather the Storm. And if Kendra can win before turn 4, which, happened to you, this could be bad.
Weather the Storm is definitely not super effective against the Elves deck because the Elves deck sort of does like exponential numbers of damage where once they get the Timberwatch Elves online.
I see someone commenting on my t-shirt. Banner Pilot is just a punk band out of Minneapolis. It's not a statement on anything about my opinion about cards in the format. I picked the wrong t-shirt tonight, folks. So let's get down to the game. Okay, so what do we got here?
Looks like Brian's got a 1-land hand here.
So does Kendra.
It's a lot more palatable.
Oh, Brian Mulligan into another 1-lander. And this one, I think he has to ship also.
Okay, yep. Well, here's a lot more lands.
That hand's a lot better. And he sort of unmulligans with those 2 aqueducts or however many he chooses to keep.
He's just going to keep 1, and I think that's like a pretty good play.
I think so too. So who's on the play? Kendra.
Play.
Okay, so Kendra, the thing is Brian is going to have the Doomblade for that turn 2 Priest. Oh no, what happened?
The turn 2 Priest should be dying here.
It will, yeah. And that
able to develop Rangers next turn, as well as this longbow that she just drew into.
Yeah, Kendra. Okay, so this is going to get out of hand. Oh, but Brian draws the perfect card to take out that Elvish Vanguard, a removal spell. So Brian is buying the time he needs to take over this game. And, Kendra really needed that Priest of Titania to kind of get her mana engine going. And right now,
this is definitely Kendra's draws not panning out. She kept a 1-lander, but hasn't been able to untap with
mana. And Brian made a play I was not expecting. He took out the mana elf with the Doomblade, which, is objectively correct. Okay. And I wonder if Brian wishes he got the Echoing Decay now, because that would have been a 2-for-1.
I don't know. I think I like
Doomblade because
I definitely maybe he should have gone back the Echoing Decay, but Stone Raining Kendra here seems like it's pretty powerful.
So takes out the offense, and now Kendra can't attack. She can buffer her life total quite a bit, but she, as good as her draws were against you, they've been as bad here because I don't know what she can do. It looks like Brian, do you recoil the land? Oh my God.
He's going to be able to destroy all of her mana here.
Yeah. Kendra is just...
I think he doesn't need to recoil the land because she's not playing lands anyway.
Do you recoil the mana elf? I think you do. And
that play. That makes a lot of sense.
So I think what really comes down to is how quickly can Brian draw a green source at this point? Because he has no action in hand. He has 2 green cards and no way to cast them. Does he have anything with
right on cue there?
Yeah. Does he have any green? Does he have any cards with flashback? He hasn't cast any cards with flashback. So it's really, can you draw a green source? And he just did. He go fetch Astrolabe, and that was fast. I was not expecting, like with Kendra's draw, I was really anticipating her to explode out of the gates, and really, once Brian finds his lands, that's going to be all she wrote.
It's pretty rough for Kendra here. If you asked me right now, player mulligan to 5,
I would not say Brian. You know what? That Timberwatch Elf, though, gives Kendra a shot. I mean, so Brian can Muldrifter here, but Devious Cover-Up, okay.
I have a whole bunch of bricks against this Timberwatch, though.
Yeah. This is interesting. So what can Kendra do here?
She's got a bunch of elves.
That's actually the best possible draw, because now she can attack and Timberwatch twice, potentially.
It looks like she might try to set up for the Spidersilk. She's going to be able to gain some life here, and she's going to keep the Timberwatch back for protection.
Yeah, she can basically, with Timberwatch Elf and Spidersilk Armor, she can block any of Brian's offense. Now we're going to get into a point where that Viridian Longbow matters. Yeah, Kendra might have stabilized.
She did, and more counterspells, which aren't really going to be effective against Kendra's in-play Timberwatch Elf and that innocuous-looking longbow that's been there all game.
So Brian's going to fire off this cover-up. He's going to get back probably a couple removal spells, but he's going to have to draw all those removal spells at some point so he can... Yeah, that's another Timberwatch Elf, and this... Well, there's the counterspell for it, but this is looking really good for Kendra at this point.
It's just like Brian ahead now.
Brian can't attack. Oh, but that Mystical Teachings.
There's a Miracle Teachings here.
So what is Teachings?
In Brian's hand here.
Okay, so Kendra can get the Huntmaster down and start generating gobs of tokens. But this
Teachings is going to maybe get a counterspell here to stop the...
Yeah. Stop that. But then Kendra can still play this other elf. And so Kendra can do 15 damage with an unblocked, plus 15 with an unblocked creature. Brian's going to snap off the Weather the Storm here. He knows he needs to buffer his life total. Because...
Only a decent play. Going to buy him a couple turn or two.
Desert, okay.
Desert's not super effective against the Timberwatch Elf here.
No, but it does prevent Kendra from attacking with everything. Do you start suiting up things with the longbow here and start going after Brian's life total 1 point at a time?
She might. She spent all her mana up to this point just on developing her board. That's out. Have an available 3 mana to...
Yeah.
With the 2 Quirion Rangers, she could actually get...
Oh, she's going for it. Kendra's going aggressive. Which...
I think this is kind of a free attack here.
Yeah. She just gets to pick off 2 of his creatures.
She's even going to have the Quirion Rangers available next turn. Tap the Timberwatch Elf. Because Teachings could cast the Teachings end turn, and then when she goes to untap the Timberwatch Elf, he can take it out, or he can just get like a Doomblade or something to take it out.
Well, if he gets Echoing Decay here, he can Yeah, no, I think you have to get Doomblade to take Timberwatch Elf out. Because that's really... Yeah. He went for Doomblade.
Okay, then she can, in response, help and protect it.
Oh, that was a great draw.
Powerful draw here, the Grim Harvest.
One of my favorite cards of all time. I love that card. Yeah, no, and that Teachings, Archaeomancer, and this is what Brian was talking about in the pregame. Archaeomancer, get back, Devious Cover-Up. That's his engine. Where's he get back Grim Harvest? Doomblade. Oh. Okay.
I feel like that gives Kendra kind of a chance here. Like, if she draws a card draw spell right now, she could actually just win the game. I feel like maybe she should have gotten back the counter spell.
Oh, no, I was going to say Brian can get rid of the Grim Harvest for good, but as soon as Kendra goes to equip something, Brian can just Doomblade it.
Yeah. She draws a Nettle Sentinel, not that she needs to get back in this game.
I think Brian made a mistake here by snapping off that Doomblade and not waiting.
I think you're right. He should have probably kept it to deal with a Timberwatch Elf down the line.
But it doesn't matter because Kendra used up all her untaps. So, oh no, she can do it on upkeep. Well, no, it doesn't matter. He untaps anyway. So, yeah, I think Kendra made a small error there. But Brian also, I don't like the Doomblade ahead of time. Brian has the inevitability. So I wouldn't Doomblade there until she moves to equip because Harvest seems so important to his deck.
Still in the yard, right?
It's still in the yard, but he only had 2 mana up, so Kendra could have dealt with it, basically. She could have... she used all her untaps from Quirion Ranger on the Wellwisher to buffer her life total, but if she had equipped, if she had resolved the Nettle Sentinel and equipped a creature, whatever creature it was, with the Longbow, she had to tap and untap to ping any 2-drop, and that recovers 3 mana, so we only had 2 available.
Interesting. She could have gone for that play that you were talking about, but instead she decided to just equip the Nettle Sentinel proactively.
Yeah. And now we have a 6/7, so, I mean, Kendra can start eating chunks of life total. And Brian can start eating life total.
Oh, it's just a 5/5.
No, I'm pretty sure it's either a 5/6 or a 6/7. I'm gonna check my phone.
It looks like on the screen here. I've got it full screened.
You're in better shape than I am. I have it on my television also, so just bring up a Gatherer.
Yeah, it looks like punch here.
It's a 5/6. I was wrong.
And start taking chunks out of the Maverick Girl's life total.
Kendra drew... You know what it is? Kendra drew her cards in the wrong order. Like, she drew... No, not even that. She just...
hasn't hit a card draw spell. That's like the real thing, right?
I mean, even if she hits Melody here, what does it do? Hitting Melody... she doesn't have a green source.
Kind of a...
Yeah.
Situation. She really needs a Lead the Stampede here.
The good news is that she is able to just whittle that life total down turn after turn. But if Brian, does he Teachings for Decay here? No, AK. Okay.
I like that. I think that's smart.
Brian hitting his land drops, as you want to do.
Not AKing on the end step to play around
to play around potential. Yeah. It's, I gotta say, Brian is piloting this deck at a level that I just was not expecting or anticipating. Like, because you see Teachings lists all the time. They show up every so often, and you look at them and they're 1 Gurmag Angler or 4 Curse of the Bloody Tomb or 84 cards to naturally deck the opponent. Brian's deck, it's different and it's not really innovative in any way, but the fact that he took all these portions from different Teachings decks and fit them together, I think one of the most innovative things is that there's this no mana base and no Scred. And that seems like one thing that you always see at a Teachings deck is, oh, I want to run Scred. And Brian went, you know what? No, I like the black removal here.
Also love that he's chosen to include Archaeomancer and Grim Harvest to form like a really strong value engine.
It's the old pig trinket engine. You know that deck. What is it? Brindlebore, Grim Harvest, and Trinket Mage, and that's what the deck was. It was a Muldrifter deck.
I know that deck. I think that might have been before my time, honestly.
No, you were around.
I just probably didn't care about it.
No, your decks tend to have very good matchups against Pig Trinket.
Played against it a couple times. Now that you mentioned
it. This is Brian is. The game's not over, but at some point, Brian is just going to leave Kendra with nothing on the board. And, a 10-turn clock is still a clock.
He's certainly got the ability to reduce Kendra's clock, but the longbow doesn't matter anymore.
The best possible draw for Kendra here... Oof. I was going to say it would be... Lead the Stampede, but Brian has the counterspell. Brian has the Teachings in the graveyard. I'm not sure what Kendra can draw here to get her out of this situation.
And this is the one of the brutal parts of format where there's any uncounterable spells. There's like just very little things that you can do to get out of this sort of things player has you in at this point.
I mean, there's no real catch-up mechanism in the format. Everything's a 2-for-1, so... there's no real Wrath of God. There's no board reset that's reliable. But there's also no, Lead the Stampede is the closest thing to a reload my hand. And if Brian didn't have the counterspell, that card would be great here, but he does. Kendra fighting a good fight.
A counterspell with a Teachings behind it, with however much Brian has in play. Hitting position here.
Kendra's really putting all her eggs in the draw green spell basket with that Nettle Sentinel. Because it's not going to untap on its own.
Yeah, that is here.
Teachings for AK. AK for 3 cards? Nope, 4.
Wow.
Brian has drawn a lot of cards off of Accumulated Knowledge. Has he cast 2 AKs for 4 this game tonight?
Yeah.
I mean...
AKs in 1 turn cycle last match.
And let's not forget that this is still game 1. Kendra's at 45 life. This game is going to take a while.
Yeah, but with Kendra not having anything to do, playing...
I mean, I think what's
sideways.
Yeah. Yeah, but Brian is just drawing the answers. Kendra, I mean, I don't know what she can do here.
Game actions, but she's just going to draw 1 card a turn and play 1 card a turn, and then...
I think what she's playing for is drawing the Lead the Stampede, but at that point, if Brian just has the counterspell, I think Kendra has to scoop it up. I agree with her actions here of not giving up because of Lead the Stampede, but I think once that gets countered, I'm not sure what happens. I'm not sure what Kendra can do. Brian's dealing 7 a turn. It's a 6-turn clock now. Kendra's forced to discard the Forest from the Recoil.
She's going to need to draw lead into lead into lead through all the counters, and then eventually draw 5 cards off Lead the Stampede and win the game from there, but lead at this point.
Brian's attacking with impunity now. He's going in with... Okay, so Kendra can cast both cards in her hand this turn. She knows Brian only has the 1 Recoil. Archaeomancer's on the board, and Brian doesn't have a Flicker. He just countered the Longbow.
That is a way for Kendra to get back in this game, huh?
Yeah. she does have the 4 Lead the Stampede and hasn't seen any. So does Brian have a Teachings in his graveyard? I can't tell.
Tell either. It's going off the screen here right now.
It is a
I don't think he does. I don't think he does. But
no, I think he flashed them both back. So there's a window here for Kendra.
Right now.
And Brian's just drawing lands.
Kendra can put something together here. Quite a few more turns. 5-6. So she's going to have...
And she has an active Wellwisher, so this...
She's taking no damage.
That is a Timberwatch Elf. And Brian is at 20 rather.
5-6, buddy.
This is getting interesting. This is not where I thought this game would be at this point.
Definitely didn't expect Kendra to get back on board, but here she is. She's got a bigger board than Brian now.
And that Wellwisher, so Brian needs to draw targeted removal. And he just drew another land. Is Kendra back in this game? Can Brian attack here? He can't.
He can attack here, but he can't attack next turn.
No, he can't attack here. He needs to leave back. He does have the 2 deserts. That was a...
Kendra wouldn't be attacking for lethal quite yet.
No. She needs way more elves and another Quirion Ranger. Kendra's just taking the time to buff her life total. But I don't think... Yeah, we're kind of in a stalemate. Someone needs to draw a game breaker. Augur of Bolas might be a game breaker.
I think he's probably still favored from this position, as he just has way more top decks than Kendra.
Yeah.
11 cards left in his deck.
11?
Yeah, 10 cards now.
Is he gonna... He needs to find a Doomblade and fast. And Kendra's giving him every opportunity to do that. But
he finds a Doomblade 4 damage in this game?
Is Brian gonna deck?
Deck? A flicker for this Archaeomancer? Like, can he make infinite spells or anything?
He doesn't have a ghostly flicker. He doesn't have an ephemerate. His loop is Archaeomancer. Right? He did. His loop is to Archaeomancer with Grim Harvest. So he had to Echoing Decay his own Archaeomancer to get back Grim Harvest, to regrow Archaeomancer to get the spell he needs.
So he's still winning. He's still winning here.
But does he have enough turns? He needs to deal 55 damage in under 10 turns. A Devious Cover-Up.
He can shuffle in cards with Cover-Up. Removal spell, kills the Archaeomancer.
Yeah. But did I disconnect?
I can still hear you.
Yeah.
You're just a little choppy.
Okay. This is an interesting game. I'm not... I mean...
Just sort of failed to see the combo here out of Brian's deck, but it looks like his late game, he's got it locked up here.
Yes. If he shuffles back in removal spells, he will draw them eventually. And then he's just to keep killing the Archaeomancer.
Really a real lock, right? Like, he's just got one counterspell. If Kendra draws, Lead the Stampede into Lead the Stampede and spells, Kendra could still win.
Yeah, and Brian's had a low enough life total that it doesn't take many elf attacks to do that. But there's the Doomblade. Doomblade kills Timberwatch or Wellwisher.
Presumably he shuffled in 4 removal spells, but he has to
absolutely
spells to kill his own Archaeomancer.
To start the loop again.
Spells. Check out.
Kendra just drawing Elves does not run that many lands, and Kendra's just drawing them at all the wrong time.
I mean, they do kind of run more lands once you count Llanowar Elves and Fyndhorn Elves.
Okay, but elves here are useful because elves mean you generate more Timberwatch pumps, you generate more triggers. Okay,
true.
Brian is now attacking for 7. So he has... Brian is on a 10-turn clock, 11-turn clock. And he has 13 cards in his deck, and Kendra draws another land. Oh, this has been a game. Can Brian
reset this match?
Brian, would you evoke Mold? No, you want to draw Moldrift. You want to cast Moldrift. You want to attack. Echoing Decay. Okay, this game has gone back, but
Brian's just winning now. I don't really see a way that Kendra can get out of this.
No way.
Start killing off her creatures.
No, he's going after his own again. This is the loop.
Or, back, right? So he could actually get back an AK here just to draw more.
If he AKs, does he deck himself?
Cards left, so
it looks like 6
cards or something.
If he AKs, he might deck himself.
It's 8.
No, he gets the cover up. It's the play you have to make.
Safer.
But now what Brian needs to do, Kendra can't cast this. Yeah. Brian needs to find a spell he can cast and then cover up. Because all his spells are reactive.
Okay, Kendra's going to go for the slow ice him out.
Yeah. But now Brian can cast this, hold priority. He doesn't hold priority.
Must have more spells in his deck, right?
He has to.
Okay.
And accumulated knowledge. Okay. But now he's dealing
into this 2/3 king.
Kendra's at 49. There's the distant melody, uncastable.
This entire game.
You know, what it was is that Brian had the Echoing Decay on turn 3 for the 2 Birchlore Ranger. Okay.
That was definitely a critical play. Kendra with these
Okay, so
red zone. Brian's just going to hold on to his cards. He's not going to Devious Cover-Up anything before he really needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kendra's doing the right thing. She's not playing into the Devious Cover-Up that she knows Brian has. She's going to force Brian to commit a spell. But, there's the Decay.
But it looks like Brian can just demonstrate his loop, have a counter spell in hand the whole time, and attack for
11. Yeah, at some point, Kendra's going to have to block. And this game has been, it really felt like this game itself was balanced on a knife's edge for a long time because it felt like Brian was ahead and then Kendra pulled back in. And then Brian was still ahead, but Kendra was almost back in it so many times. And we still got another game of this. And that's the game. This is the game I thought Kendra was advantaged.
Another game? We could have 2 more games, buddy.
True. We could. But I see 2 Evankar's Justice and a Wail of the Nim and an Echoing Truth in Brian's sideboard.
What's Kendra bringing in the sideboard? Does she have any...
She brings in Winding Way. That's about it. She cuts Distant Melody, probably cuts the island for a forest. I think brings in the other copies of Spidersilk Armor, maybe brings in the second Longbow, probably brings in the Wrap In Vigor. But
pretty difficult sideboarding for Kendra because all the cards that we just talked about are not elves, and she does want to keep a high elves count.
Yeah, but I think you can safely lose the where is it? What's it called? It's a new card, the Springbloom Druid. It's a 3-drop. It's
that one.
Yeah, I think Kendra down to 16. That's all. That's all this game. This game is basically over. We lose Joseph. No, you're back. Yeah, there really isn't much Kendra has for this matchup, and I can understand it. You know, you put you on familiars, you put Ricardo on a metagame deck, but Brian doesn't play a ton of Pauper leagues. He streams a lot, but he streams a lot of Visit Delver. So we're going to sideboards. What is Kendra bringing in?
She's not bringing in the longbows. It looks like she's actually boarding them out. It's hard to see. The cards are kind of small, but she's bringing in the Winding Ways. She's cutting the Distant Melodies. It's like, yeah, she's managing to keep a high elves count while also bringing in some heavy hitters in the matchup.
So it looks like we're going to be getting a new clock. So we're going to come back to us for a second. Yeah, sorry about this. Magic Online recently moved from a 50-minute game clock to a maximum 25 in the tournament practice room, which is where we play our games. So this is going to happen if we do have these long game decks like Brian's Sultai Teachings deck. We talked about this beforehand, but what does Kendra have to do in game 2? It looked like she had a great draw, and then just it all hinged on the single copy of Priest of Titania, and it fell apart. So what does she need? Does she need to have 2 of those in her opening hand?
I think that the critical things that happened that game was that Kendra stumbled on mana a little bit. She wasn't able to cast her spells every turn when she needed them. Resolved a card draw spell. Able to resolve Vengeance? A lot different.
So I think Kendra has to take out the Distant Melodies. They are just not going to do what she wants this game.
She cut those. I saw that she was cutting those. So
what does Brian cut? I think Brian has to cut Dispel. I don't think it's very good here. I think he cuts the Spell Bomb.
Spell Bomb's also a brick. Cut what is it? The Life Gain card? I feel like that card's a brick here.
It has its utility, but I think you're right. I think, you know what? I don't know. If he, it depends on when he draws it. And I know that sounds weird because it's a teachings deck, so it's a toolbox deck, but let's say Kendra has one of those elf turns where she spits out, 20 elves on turn 3, 20 spells, 22 spells, whatever it is. Can she do that in the face of a forest? Like, Brian fetches a forest with Ash Barren. That basically says we are getting... we have sideboards up. That basically says we are getting... But it looks like he's listening to you. He took out the weather... Oh, wait, no, that's the Return to Nature.
Still in his deck here. Let's see if he takes it out.
Taking out the spell, taking out Spell Bomb.
Oil 2.
What's he trying to bring in?
He's got a negate, 2 Evan Cars, the Wail of the Nim.
And an Echoing Truth.
It looks like, he agrees with me. He's going to cut the weather.
What's your last cut?
The first 4 are kind of easy. They're all bricks, but I'm not sure what...
I might cut an Augur of Bolus. Oh, no, he's going for Trinket Mage, but he's not necessarily cutting the Weather the Storm yet. You might cut an Augur of Bolus. It's a really good card. I could see cutting an Edict. It's not as good against Kendra's deck, but it looked great there. You might cut an Astrolabe, but then if you cut an Astrolabe, then your Trinket Mages get worse because you've already cut so many one-drop artifacts.
I don't know. It just feels sketchy to have all these green cards in your deck and then play 2 Astrolabes like that. I don't know.
He does have the forest. He does have the forest and 3 Ash Barrens to go get it.
Yeah, the forest is.
But it looks like
key.
Kendra looks like Kendra brought in the Harsh Sustenance and the Relic. I forgot about the Relic.
About the Harsh Sustenance here. I think that's I'm not sure if I agree with that. A little bit
don't
more for this matchup.
Kendra also cut the Essence Wardens, which makes sense. The life gain doesn't matter here. So we're going to game 2.
Let's see what happens. On the play here.
Oh, let's wait. We got to get to the new scene, but it looked like Kendra cut the Essence Wardens. She did bring in the Winding Ways, which makes sense. She brought in the Wrap In Vigor. Harsh Sustenance, I don't like it here. I really don't. Brian has too many counter
I don't
spells.
know.
Brian has So Kendra's on the play and has a pretty good opening hand. Brian has a slow hand, but it's good. And if he can get to that second black source, he has the Evankar's Justice. But
both players are equipped with reasonable draws here.
I think both have to keep.
Yeah. Kendra's draw, it looks pretty fast here. I'm going to be curious to see whether she goes for the turn 2 Timberwatch Elves or the turn 2 Armor.
I don't think you win if you play defensively here. I think you have to go for Timberwatch. And I think, well, she drew Priest of Titania, so that's different. So Kendra is, and there's the Doomblade again. Always right on time. But now,
counter spells that Brian's holding. Oh, wow. That's a big draw.
That's a very big draw because now Kendra can Timberwatch. Unless Brian draws an untapped land, which he doesn't, he has to play the Aqueduct. So Kendra's going to get this Lead the Stampede off. And that could overwhelm Brian's defenses.
Last game, we saw Kendra not getting to resolve a single card draw spell.
He bricked. Augur bricked.
Augur bricked.
Augur bricked.
On turn 4, Kendra is going to go for a Lead the Stampede with a Winding Way off the top to back it up.
That's
pretty insane spot for her.
It's a very good spot, but she doesn't have the mana. That's the thing. So do you go
Winding Way for lands?
I know. I think you actually Winding Way here for creatures.
That's right. That was it's in the deck.
Gets a pretty good draw, actually. She gets Birchlore, and then she can tap Birchlore and Nettle for the Elvish Mystic, and this is actually going to be terrible because Brian's going to untap and Wrath.
Oh. Car's Justice?
Evankar's Justice. There's no justice.
There actually was a justice.
Kendra can rebuild here, though.
She does get to rebuild a little bit here, but she doesn't have enough mana to cast her Spidersilk Armor or her Lead the Stampede here.
So I wonder...
He's just going to have counters up for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and has the negate for whenever she does decide to go for Lead the Stampede. This game...
Negate's looking pretty cute here, with paired with the bounce land. That's going to be some work.
Yeah, Spidersilk doesn't matter here.
Yeah.
But...
Now.
So, to be fair, Brian is on a 16-turn clock unless he draws a creature or removal spell. There's the removal spell.
Yeah, now we start the sort of
the long wait toward a win condition.
This is sort of this is where his deck thrives.
Yeah, but this game unfortunately seems over for. This game looked so good for Kendra at the start, but this Sultai Teachings deck, I fully expect to see this deck show up next week in challenges.
I don't know.
This deck is sweet. Leave it to the guy who has vintage Super League experience under his belt to bring something interesting. No offense to Andreas Peterson, who gave me a very solid beatdown last week. But Brian is just... he's putting on a clinic of how to play control. And, this is something I don't mean this as a knock on any other deck in the format, but this is not something we've seen in a while. We've seen a lot of, I like to think of the current crop of Tron decks, they're ramp prison decks. They ramp to an endgame and then they lock you out. This is a real hard control deck. It is threat light. It is 2-for-1s. It is counter spells. This is beautiful. Like this is not something I've seen in Pauper in a long time.
It's been a while since I've seen Teachings look this good, but pretty good.
And I don't mean to knock. I think Raptor56 is in the chat, and they played Snowgo, which is that Grixis-based Teachings deck with the Screds, to a couple 5-0s this season. But this is something else. This is a clinic in how to play a control deck. It's a
pretty neat deck. I like it a lot.
Yeah, he said he went into the brew, and you know what? You have to play this deck in the last match of the night. What do you think?
I think I'm probably favored. I think that in the past has been like pretty easy for me. So honestly, hockey, I think it's an easy win. But
okay. I mean, to be fair, I put Kendra ahead in this match, and I was wrong. And I put, but I also thought you would pull out a game, and I was wrong there. So yeah, that is really where we're coming down to. We're going to see Brian. Is Augur of Bolas going to deal 19 damage this game?
If Kendra doesn't concede, it just might.
I mean, here comes Muldrifter. Muldrifter's so good with Karus, with those bounce lands. Brian is just drawing all the cards.
The classic Pauper combo.
Yeah. Brian moves to 2-0.
It looks like there's just no way for Kendra to get back in.
No. Brian's going to negate this.
The easiest negate of Brian's whole entire life.
I mean, Astrolabe. So this is a 6-turn clock, and there's the worm. I think once the worm hits that's it. That's all. The game is over. I don't think there's anything Kendra can do. I mean, there hasn't been anything Kendra can do since her board got wrathed, but can't be good to let that card resolve. If you let a 1/3 resolve, that something bad is coming. Because Brian can flash out this worm.
Yeah, that's pretty brutal. That's going to be the end of the game here.
Yeah, whether or not the game lasts a number more, like whether or not more turns are taken, this game is over.
Okay.
So, I won't lie, I'm not looking forward to your match because I feel like it's going to take, maybe 90 minutes. But I'm really looking forward to watching you guys play because it is going to be a match for sure. Kendra making the find of it. It's going to be grindy. But it's going to hinge on whether or not you can resolve, I think, Sage's Row Denizen. I think that's really what it comes down to. What?
Matters, just getting ahead. Like, if I can...
Because you have more 2-for-1s.
I think Deep Analysis is the key card.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, that's it. Kendra moves to 1-1. Brian moves to 2-0 and is in position to go 3-0. But next up, you are playing Ricardo. And
Ricardo.
I like the matchup for you, game 1. And then Ricardo brings in 5 hate cards. So this will be interesting. Yeah, I agree. This teaching deck is for real. So yeah, we are going to go to break. Coming in the booth is going to be Kendra. Excuse me, Kendra and Brian are going to be in the booth next, and then you are going to be playing Ricardo. So I'm excited to see that one. Good luck. We'll be back after a few short messages.